All right, Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Rachak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and also honor and salutations to those of you who are of the hopeful elect and are out there teaching the word in sincerity and truth. All right, so today I wanted to talk about this has been on my mind for a little while. The topic of brotherhood. And where it started from was I had went through something at work where, well, it's I can't say I went through something. It's something that I constantly go through at work, which is this overt kindness. And the reason why I do that is because of what the scriptures say. Matter of fact, um, I think I'm spelling that right. This is Romans 12:8. It says, if it be possible, as much as lieth in you, live peaceably with all men, right? And I try to practice that. And I'm very, not to brag, it sounds like humble bragging, but I'm a pretty meek guy at work. And I do it with a purpose, right? And I guess somewhere in my mind, I feel like if I'm kind to people, that it'll be returned to me in some way. When I ask for something to be done, then they'll dig down somewhere into their mental Rolodex and say, you know what, this guy's always kind to me. Let me go ahead and do this thing, right? And I do that in hopes of less resistance, right? When I'm asking for something to be done. But what ends up happening, is that people take it for granted, right? Um, and they may be rude to you, or they might be having a bad day, and um, they'll take it out on you, so to speak. And it made me start thinking about the brotherhood, right, and how valuable it is. And the reason being, is because when you're like that, right, when you're living peaceably with all men, when you're forthright. Matter of fact, let me do this. Let me do this. I wasn't thinking about this. Let me see. This is. I'm gonna go to Luke. What is it? Luke 22 and 44. Luke 22 and 44. It says, and being in agony, he prayed more earnestly, and his sweat was as it were great drops of blood falling to the ground. Now, if you look this up, no. So if you look it up, when this is a real condition, where the smaller blood vessels in your skin, they burst from high levels of stress, right? Um, this is what was happening to the Lord Yahweh Shai, right? And of course, he had this great burden upon him, right? But I believe that there's something that happens to you in your body, in your physical self, when you're forthright with your kindness, when you're forthright with your uh, with your offering, which the Lord Yahweh Shai was, and it's not returned to you. I think it does something to your body physically. And uh, when it happens to me, it wears me down to a point where I get emotional. I get emotional, and I almost come to tears, because I feel like I really feel like, and again, this is not to brag, but I really feel like that, especially this person that I'm thinking of in particular, that I'll kick his ass if it came down to it, and it was me and him mano a mano. I would kick his ass, and but I don't use that and take advantage of my size over him or what have you. But again, it takes from me my body, and I get real stressed out about it. And it brought me to think of the brotherhood, because that brotherhood doesn't take for granted when it's lived properly, the love that you share with each other. And that's what it brought me to. And I wanted to read a little bit about it. Matter of fact, I think it's in this. Let me see. Oops. This is damn. Let me see. Nope. Bear with me for a second. Let me see. Yep. Matthew 26 and 40. Let's go there. All right. Matthew 26 and 40. This is so if you know the story, the Lord Yahweh Shai was feeling it, right? This is where he asked to, have his burden lifted from him if there was any way possible. Matter of fact, let me start I'm gonna start at 36. This is Matthew 26 and 36. It says, "Then cometh Yahweh Shai with them unto a place called Gethsemane, and saith unto the disciples, Sit ye here, while I go and pray yonder. And he took with him Peter and two sons of Zebedee, and began to be sorrowful and very heavy." Right? So these were people that he trusted with his emotions. Right? These are people that here it is, right? This is the man that they look to for guidance on how to live their life. They are his disciples. But excuse me, but he was comfortable enough with them to share this grieving moment, you know. And I feel that way with the brotherhood, right? Um, Sometimes, man, this truth will break you down to tears, man. It'll break you down to tears, and there is no one else in the world that can understand what it is we go through in this truth, right? My lady was telling me the other day. She was looking at me, and she noticed how gray my beard is getting, and my hair, and 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 it's from the what we have to endure in this truth, man. Um, Matter of fact, let me go here. Uh, I think that's Second Timothy's. Let me see. Oops. Yeah, Second Timothy's 2 and 3. It says, "Thou there." Let me see. Yeah, so this is I'm gonna start at the first verse. It says, "Thou therefore, my son, be strong in the grace that is in Hamashiach Yahushai, and the things that thou hast heard of me among many witnesses, the same commit thou to faithful men who shall be able to teach others also." Right? It says, "Thou therefore endure hardness as a good soldier of Yahushai Hamashiach." Right? So we have to endure much grief and much hardness in this truth, man. Whether it be from your wife, whether it be your job, finances, your children, your family. There's a lot to endure, right? Matter of fact, with what is that scripture? I think it's with much wisdom comes sorrow. Let me see. Yeah. Ecclesiastes 1 and 18, it says, "For in much wisdom is much grief, and he that increaseth knowledge increaseth sorrow." Right? So this is what we go through, man. This is what we go through. We endure a great level of sorrow, a great level of grief, and the only people that we can go to understand what we're going through is the brotherhood, man. Everyone else is going to spit on your grief, and not deliberately. It might be somebody that really loves you, like your mom or your dad or your wife or your kids or what have you. They love you, right? But not to the depth of love that the brotherhood has for you, because of the level of empathy that the brotherhood has, because they know what it is you're going through, right? So let me continue here. It says, "No man that warreth entangleth himself with the affairs of this life, that he may please him who have chosen him to be a soldier," right? So that's another thing that adds grief to you, right? You try to separate yourself from as much worldly things as possible, and the people that you're around might be like, "Oh, you don't do this, or you don't do that, or you giving away your family or what have you," right? And those things add grief to you, man. So again, going back to the Lord Yahweh Shai, these were people who he could share his grief with, right? So let me continue reading. It says, I'm read 37 again. It says, "And he took with him Peter and the two sons of Zebedee, and began to be sorrowful and very heavy. Then saith he unto them, My soul is exceeding sorrowful, even unto death. Tarry ye here and watch with me." Right? It says, "And he went a little further and fell on his face and prayed, saying, O my Father, if it be possible, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not as I will, but as thou wilt. And he cometh unto the disciples and findeth them asleep, and saith unto Peter, What? Could ye not watch with me 1 hour? Watch and pray that ye enter not into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak." Right? So he wanted them to be there for him, man. You know, like, damn, man, just stay up with me for a minute, man. You know, and I know that feeling, man. Sometimes you just going through something, and you don't need a bro to say nothing. Sometimes you just need somebody to listen, right? And only the brotherhood um, can provide that, right? And it's funny because it even goes past your personal emotions, right? Because we had a meeting at work, and I keep explaining to them that um, these rules and standards that we develop for people to follow are only as good as the people who are in charge of enforcing these rules and standards. If there's no enforcement behind these rules and standards, or um, there's no checks and balances, right? Then people are just going to run amok, right? And that's also another part of brotherhood, right? Where it's a self-sustaining system when it's ran properly. Matter of fact, I had that somewhere. I thought where the no, I didn't pull it up, or did I? Right. This is like Galatians 2:11. It says, "But when Peter was come to Antioch, I withstood him to the face, because he was to be blamed. For before that certain came from James, he did eat with the Gentiles. But when they were come, he withdrew and separated himself, fearing them which were of the circumcision." Right. So Paul had to, when Peter went off, check him a little bit, man, so that the ministry could be pushed forth, right? So the brotherhood is also that. It's a system of checks and balances to keep us in order, right? We need that, man. We need it. We were taught wrong here in America. We were taught that being emotional with your bros is gay. Or that, oh, you being a bitch, man. You know, and that ain't the way that we supposed to be, man. it's safe to say that everything that we learned here in America can be unlearned. It's safe to say that, right? Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's being there's a level of affection that can be exercised between men that is not overt, where it's borderline, like I said, gay, right? There's a level of affection you can have if you. Matter of fact, let's see. I know a lot of scriptures gonna come up with that one. Oh, did I spell it wrong? I did. How you spell bosom? Let me see. Let's see. I might be spelling that wrong. Is it bosom one S? Yeah. Let's go to that. Let's go to that. I think I read this. Was it John? Was it 13? Oops. John. Oops. 13. What verse was it? 23. John 13 and 23. It says, now there was leaning on Yahushua's bosom one of his disciples whom Yahushua loved. Simon Peter therefore beckoned to him that he should ask who it should be of whom he spake. He then lying on Yahushua's breast saith unto him, Lord, who is it? Right? I think they were inquiring about who was it that was going to betray him. And, Peter was was feeling some kind of way, right? Because John was laying in the bosom of the Lord Yahushua, right? And that's a level of affection, right? You got to remember something, that John at this time had to have been a really young guy, right? Because he lived to the Isle of Patmos. I'm getting my history right. Until he was upwards in his 90s, I think. So that means at this time, when the Lord Yahushua was on earth, he had to have been a young man. You know, so there was a level of affection that was being shown. He was laying in the, you do that with your dad when you're a kid, right? But when you get older, you kind of, come on, man, you kind of distance yourself from that behavior. But it's normal, man. There's a level of affection that should be shared amongst brothers, man. You know, I remember reading the scripture for the first time, to greet the brothers with a holy kiss, right? And the learning in America makes you um, squirmish on something like that, right? Or when you read about how the Lord Yahweh Shai washed the disciples' feet, you get a little squeamish, right? When you think about doing that with a bro, right? But there's a level of affection in that, right? Not. I mean, I'm not saying you know what I'm saying. I'm not saying get crazy and get freaky, right? But I'm just there is a level of affection that should be had between brothers, man. You know, and it's necessary. It's necessary because who else? Matter of fact, um, let's see. No, yeah, this is Second Thessalonians 1:7. It says, "And to you who are troubled, rest with us, when the Lord Yahushua shall be revealed from heaven with his mighty angels." This must be more. It says, "In flaming fire, taking vengeance on them that know not the Most High, and that obey not the gospel of our Lord Yahushua HaMashiach, who shall be punished with everlasting destruction from the presence of the Lord and from the glory of his power." Right? But the point is here in 7, right? If you're troubled, rest with us. We your bros, man. If you got something going on, call, man. Call. No one can guess what's going on in your life. I don't know what's going on in your life, right? All I know that we all going through it, right? But I don't know what's happening to you. Only you know that. It's your responsibility, as a brother, to call the brothers when you feel a certain way, man. When something is going on with you, you know. We have a lot on our plates, right? Um, so to try to guess what's going on in another brother's life, sometimes a man's countenance can show you what's happening, or at least there's something going on. You should ask, right? But for the most part, brothers try to keep a straight face, if you will, right? So it's your responsibility when you're keeping that straight face. You really don't want nobody to know what you're going through, and you need somebody to counsel you. To call, man, just call a brother. You know, just call the brother and let him know, like, look, bro, I'm going through it today. I broke down in tears. Like I had a conversation with the elder Adama. I broke down in tears. I was watching this video, man, and I knew it. The elder told me, he said you was crying, but it wasn't necessarily because of the video you watched. That was just what triggered you. And it's true. I was I'm trying to think of the video, but it was basically there's this Taekwondo guy or karate guy that I catch every once in a while. I don't know who he is, but every once in a while I'll catch a video from him and how he treats the young men that are learning the fighting style underneath him. And once a young man in his dojo reaches a certain level, they got to go through this test. They go through a physical test and then they go through a spiritual test with the father. And what happens is a father um, and the men that are mentoring this young man get in the push up position, and the young man lays on the back of these men, and they do as many push ups as they can. And then when that man can't do push ups anymore, he goes over to the next man, and he does push ups, and then goes over to the next man, and he does push ups. And man, I saw that, and I just broke down crying, man. And I mean like sobbing, and I haven't sobbed like that in a long time. It was quite therapeutic. I'm embarrassed to say, but it was quite therapeutic, man. Like, I hadn't sobbed like that in quite some time. And the elder, like you said, it wasn't the video that made you cry, but it was what triggered you. And I knew it wasn't just the video because as I was crying, all these other emotions were pouring out. I was thinking about my own son, my oldest son. I was thinking about the brotherhood and wanting to be better, and all these different things were pouring out of me one after another. You know, and I was just sobbing, man. I had a moment by myself. I had to been crying. I couldn't stop crying. I had to been crying for about 5 good minutes, man. And I had to, I told the bro, I had the conversation. He also had, shared a moment with me, you know, and that's what you do, man. You. That's what the brotherhood is for. We are each other's therapists, man. I have a brother. I had a brother. I won't mention his name, but who called me recently, and it was on the fly. It wasn't. I wasn't expecting to have a conversation with this man. I think about him a lot, but I wasn't planning on having. I'm getting the chills, man. I wasn't thinking about having a conversation with him. I hadn't spoke to this brother um on a one-on-one level like that in years almost. And yeah, not almost in years. Like I've seen him a couple different times throughout, our journey in the truth, but I hadn't spoken to him in a while. And that brother shared a moment with me, you know, and I wasn't expecting that, but that we're each other's therapists, man. And the brother, I was uplifted by the conversation, and the brother told me that I had uplifted him, and it was a good conversation, man. And I didn't do anything special in particular. I just was a ear to listen to, you know, and that's what we're here for, man. So let me get into some of these scriptures. I've been sitting here rambling on. Let me see. First Thessalonians 4:9. It says, "But as touching brotherly love, ye need not that I write unto you, for ye yourselves are taught of the Most High to love one another. And indeed ye do it toward all the brethren which are in all Macedonia, but we beseech you, brethren, that ye increase more and more. So not just the brothers in Macedonia, right? Meaning like the people around you, right? But increase it, spread it out. This brother that called me is from, another camp, halfway across the country, you know, and you spread that love, man. You spread that love, you know. We need each other, man. Like, for those who are out there that thinks that they can do it on their own, it's not the way to be, man. If you can do it, man, all power to you, man. If you could do that, and you're the type of spirit where you could just be out there by yourself and doing your own thing. If you're that kind of spirit, man, all power to you, man. May the Lord bless you and grow you in this faith. But that ain't the way to be, man. You gotta have somebody with you, man. Matter of fact, I think I have it pulled up here. Yeah. This is Ecclesiastes 4:9. It says, two are better than one because they have a good reward for their labor. For if they fall, the one will lift up his fellow, but woe to him that is alone when he falleth, for he hath not another to help him up. You know, so it's important, man. It's important, and I think Yahweh Bashem Yahushai that I've always had the Elder Adama with me. I'm so grateful. I don't know because I've never had to have the discipline to sustain my performance in something like this, or to be involved in something like this for a long duration of time. I never had to do it. So if I started alone, I don't know if I would have been able to last. And that's just on the strength of my past. I've never done anything like this. I've never like it's funny when I'm embarrassed to tell this story, but I'll tell it anyway. I probably have told it before, but the first time I went to see the elder apostles, I took the train out to New York, and when I had come back, my wife at the time and my mother, they asked me, they were talking about New Year's resolutions and all of that shit, and at the time I was kind of breaking out of all that stuff, but they had turned and asked me, what's your New Year's resolution? And I said to find God. And they both said it at the same time, find God at the same time, right? In that nigga woman sound. And this has been the only thing that I stuck to ever. Even having a New Year's resolution, this has been the only thing, that I've stuck to, so I needed him. I needed him, and the Lord knew that. The Lord knew that I needed him. And we met all the way in New York. Here it is. We live 20 minutes from each other. And we met all the way in New York, man. We had cross paths with each other throughout my life, many times, man. Many times we had cross paths with each other. So the Lord always knew, that I needed him, and I hope that I've been, a help to him as well, But that's it, man. I've talked long enough. I think the point was made. I want to give all praises as always to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai Bashem Ruach Dash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Honor salutation to the elect. And with that, I say Shalom.